name is Nonima Tigela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to focus on everything that was happening in that courtroom. Let me break those things down. I don't think I'm gonna be able to take them quick chronologically order, but I'm gonna just do videos on random things that I was like whenever they were happening. Okay. I Nkosi yami, because what the hell, Ubaloyi izinto asethi sezona namhlanje. The drama, I enjoyed all of it, Kesan. So the Senzomeyiwa trial takes a dramatic turn as a courtroom testimony exposes a critical contradiction in the state case. Advocate George Baloyi attempts to defend the confession process as best practice, according to Giminda. But Bongani Ntanzi's response raises serious questions about coercion, assault, and the legality of the statement. So now that's what we are going to go down and talk about in this courtroom breakdown that I'm trying to do here. We are analyzing how one exchange could impact the credibility of the confession and what it means for the outcome of the trial at the end. Okay, please make sure you keep watching. Please make sure you watch it's for everyone, especially if you are following the Senzomeyiwa case. It is a must for you to watch and watch and watch. Okay, so please make sure you are watching, and let's continue doing the things. Now, this right here might be the moment the entire case starts to crack again, because it's been cracking. It's been having small cracks. Again, there's another small crack now, because in this exchange, the state tries to convince the court that everything was done by the book, that this confession followed best practice. But seconds later, the same process is described as assault, coercion, and forced compliance. And once you hear or see this contradiction, you can't unsee it, Kesana, and you can't unhear it, Kesana. Now, the state strategy is okay. So let's understand what the prosecutor, Advocate George Baloyi, is trying to do here. He builds a very clean narrative, according to him. Confessions must be taken by an independent officer. That's standard practice across South Africa. It protects suspects from coercion. It ensures fairness and legality. In simple terms, he's telling the court that this process is safe, this process is clean, the process is trustworthy. And on paper, that sounds very solid, right? But here is a snake now that he's hitting. The witness flips it, ne? But then came the response from Bongani Ntanzi. And this is where everything changed, Kesana, because Bongani doesn't argue legal theory. He goes straight to logic. He goes straight to logic. He says, if I volunteer to give a statement, why would I say I was assaulted? Why would I tell the court I was electrocuted? Why would I tell the court I was coerced? If everything was done properly, why am I here defending myself that I was done all of these things? Why? So let that sink in. When he asked those questions, oh my word. Oh dear Lord. He was dealing with Ubale umonekile sana, wavela wamoneka dakonba. Oh my God. Wavela waba ilajisi. Because that is not just an answer from Ntanzi. That is a direct attack on the credibility of the entire process, Kesat. That was a direct attack. Now let's talk about the contradiction. Now, here is where it gets dangerous for the state. On one side, best practice, independent officer, standard procedure. On the other side, alleged assault or allegations of assault, claims of coercion, forced signing of statements. These two realities cannot exist together. One of them is not correct. One of them is not correct because if the process was clean, there should be no coercion. And if coercion existed, then the process was never clean. Now, it goes back to what Ntanzi was saying. If I was volunteering and willingly doing all of this, why am I defending myself now? Why am I here busy defending? Because I wouldn't be here busy defending if what you are saying is exactly how things happened. So Untanzi is making sure that Ubaloyi uyanyapha kula witness box. I mean kula prosecutor don't because tell me why yonke into now is falling apart right in front of us. And Ubaloyi akalibonanga elizayo ke sanelidlayo. Kubi. Now let's look at illegal implication. This is where the law becomes brutal. In South African criminal law, a confession must be freely made, voluntarily, without influence. If there is even a reasonable possibility that the accused was threatened, assaulted, pressured, that confession becomes legally dangerous, sometimes even inadmissible. So now the court is not just listening to a story, it's weighing the options. Because already we know that Judge Rata did a ruling for the confessions to come in, to be admitted so that they can hear fully what was inside them. Even though at first most we didn't know what was inside them. When they were read, we were like, excuse me, excuse me, what? We were left like dumbfounded as South Africans because we were like, no. There's a lot of things that are not making sense there. So from there on, it was just bad. It was just bad because now, even for Judge Rata, he's busy weighing, of course, he's weighing, can I trust this confession at all? He's there knowing very well about there's nothing to trust. Whether you're Tanda or Ragatandi, he knows there's absolutely nothing to trust. Now, the state's risky move, let's talk about that. But here is where things get even more risky. The state tries to link best practice to the same timeline where coercion is being alleged. That's a gamble, Gesana, from the state side, because instead of separating the process from the allegation, they've now merged them together. So if one part falls, the entire structure is going to fall with it. I don't think he calculated that very well, or Mr. Calculative. I don't think he did his mathematics very well there. Now, at this moment, you need to understand clearly. This is no longer about who said what, who remembers what, because if the court starts to believe that the confession was not made freely or was not freely made, then everything built on top of it starts shaking. And once that doubt enters the courtroom, it doesn't leave easily. It doesn't leave easily. It becomes problematic for a very long time. Now, this is why this moment matters, because it's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it's surgical. And what Bongani Ndanzi did there, he made sure, and there is nothing that Ubaloyi can do at this point. It is done. It is done, and Ndanzi has done what he has done. A simple question, a simple answer, and suddenly the foundation of the state case doesn't look so solid anymore. Everything now is questionable. Everything is hanging there by balance and with a thin thread, because right now where we are, we have Bongani Ndanzi, who made sure that Ubaloyi looks like a Popeye there. Ubaloyi looks like a Popeye there because things are not looking good, son. Things are not looking good. I don't care who says what. Ubaloyi looks like a Popeye, and it's not even funny in Dabayakon. It's not even funny in Dabayakon Kubi. Like, it's so bad, Sanalam. I don't care Uban Utin, because at this point, questions, Sana. I like the dance that we have the witness box. Oh, I like that dance. I like that very, very much. I do. I like the dance that is aligned with the lawyer yake. They are aligned. Money understanding. I like that. And I like that even other lawyers are aligned with the dance. And I like that even as people that are watching the case, we understand why Ndanzi is how he is in that courtroom. But one thing that I like the most now is that Ndanzi is fighting a good fight. He's fighting for his life there. He's fighting for his life there, and it's not gonna go away. Baloyi better find other ways and other people to play with. Mind you, this is the same Baloyi who is having I choose number 3, number 4, number 5. And now it's quite sad because uDribblisha umfana where he dropped out as a high school for standard 8. With him having being an advocate, it's embarrassing to say the least. I'll do a video about that. But guys, it is embarrassing. What is happening there? No. It's so bad. It's so bad. I don't see how Baloyi is going to survive this. I honestly don't see how Baloyi is going to make it out of this. I don't see how he's going to survive any of it. But okay, let us wait and see. I'm just happy ukuthi uBongani Ntanzi is just one of those guys abathi I will fight until my last breath, Kesan. I will fight until my last breath. That's where he is, Ntanzi, and I'm happy about that. I'm absolutely happy about that because he's like, andizuyeka mna lento, andizuyeka and andizuziyeka nditshone ndingalwanga. Whatever happens, he's making sure that he's fighting. He's making sure that he is fighting, and I love that about him. I'm so impressed. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts when it comes to this? Let's talk in the comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. Do enjoy your day. Bye-bye.